One of the most common things you could do in an application is fetch data from an external API. Once you've gathered the data, there are several things you could do with it. Today, we're going to talk about 3 things to consider prior to displaying data in a Next.js application from an external source. To start out, how do we make an external API request in Next.js using a server component? Well, in order to make that fetch request in a server component, the function must be asynchronous with no access to any front-end hooks or JavaScript. In this example, the fetch request is made inside the function to an external API that's going to return an object representing our post. The data is then converted to JSON, then we map over displaying the desired content to the user. So the first thing that we want to consider is caching. By default, to optimize performance, everything is cached in Next.js. This is to limit the amount of work done by the server having to re-render that same page over and over again. If the data does change over time, you may want to consider using the Dynamic IO API, which is going to allow you to cache or not cache anything and simplify your code. I'm not going to cover how it works in this video, but this is a cool feature that's still experimental that can really help optimize the performance of your application. The second thing to consider is error handling. Whenever you make a request, one of the most important aspects to include is error handling. In a server component, it's tempting just to make the request, but what happens if the API is down or you get a status return of 500? Take a few seconds to wrap your request in a try-catch block where you can provide updates when the status is not 200. The last consideration when displaying data is the reusability of the request. Server actions allow fetch requests to take place directly from the page or the component. If the data is shared across multiple components, consider making this request in a separate file so it's easily accessed throughout the project. So the next time you're making a fetch request to an external API, consider these 3 things to improve the user experience and overall performance of your application.